Hi, I'm Peter Birch and thank you for joining me today here at CrittaCam. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell to keep up to date and continue to join the adventure with me. Today we're going to be talking about small or pygmy skinks. I hope you guys enjoy today. Welcome to CrittaCam. Alright, now today we're going to be looking at the spiny or the pygmy spiny-tailed skinks. These guys are absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. They come from Western Australia, Northern Territory and South Australia. They get them along these little borders. Now there's a couple of different types. I've got two types here today to show you. The first one we're going to do is the grey guy. Now in New South Wales they're all considered to be still Egernia depressa. Now these are absolutely gorgeous little creatures, and as you can see this is the enclosure I use to keep the grey guys. Now the grey guys I think are absolutely amazing. These guys have absolutely grown on me so much. Look at this, come in nice and close. Look at this, they live in family little groups, and more importantly we had some little babies. Look at this little guy here. Look at the little bubba, there he goes. Now they are, there's one up there on the back. Aren't they absolutely gorgeous little things? Now they only have two babies, one or two babies, and they are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. There's a mama and a bubba. Now, let's look at the size of these animals. Now these guys are 2-year-old. Now that's the male right there. He's a nice little fella. Now the females are a little bit bigger because obviously they're going to make babies. And they live in these family groups, which is truly amazing. Now look at this. Look at that. A little bit bigger, but not by much. Now aren't they just absolutely gorgeous little faces? Now you can see why they call them pygmy spiny-tailed skinks. Now these guys have got crazy tails. Now the particular grey species like trees, logs, they like bark and all that sort of stuff because they get in there, they sort of inflate their bodies, so they get in there and they wedge themselves in between these cracks and crevices and they wedge themselves. That's how they protect themselves. Now one of the coolest things about these guys is they are an active little vegetarian. These guys love their vegetables and they also eat insects. Well, that's a big mouthful. Now, I'm looking over here in the left-hand corner and I can't help to fall in love with those tiny little babies. Now these guys are only a couple of days old and look at that. How could you not fall in love with that gorgeous little fella right there? Who would think that in a couple of years he's going to be as big as mum and dad, and hopefully there's his little friend, little brother down there, or sister, and hopefully they're going to produce some more crackers like that. Absolutely gorgeous. Now as you can see this enclosure here, we've got a little bit of sand, we've got a little bit of peat moss in there so we can get a little bit of moisture in there. They've got a nice little rock outcrop here. They do like the bark, as we just seen, they're all huddled under the bark here. So they do like bark and timber and stuff like that, and it makes them feel really comfortable so they can move around. The coolest things about these particular species, now with all the Egernias, is they have a communal toilet. So they live in little colonies or little communities and they typically all poop in the one little spot in your enclosure. Now that makes it very handy for cleaning. Now we're going to close this up because as you can see, they get a little feisty. Now the other species that I'm working with are the red ones. These guys are a little bit bigger, a little bit more prettier, and let's see, let's get one of these guys right here. Oh, look at this. So you can't help to fall in love with that. Look at that gorgeous animal there. Look at that, another one, gorgeous one there. But more importantly, only a couple of days ago we got some of these little guys. Now you can see the adults are much bigger than the greys and the babies are much bigger than the greys. Now obviously the size of the parents dictates the size of the babies. Now these guys are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Those oranges, those reds are absolutely amazing. Now you'll notice that these guys also have a nice little rock outcrop. They also have some bit of timber in here and a little rock hide. Now they love to move around. Now you're going to notice that, hang on a minute, there's more than 2 adults in here. Well, this is the coolest thing ever. So let me just put one of these adults back. So that's the adult, right? This is a baby from last year. Now you can see how quick they grow. That's a year-old baby. He's absolutely blossomed and grown. So he's nearly as big as the adults. So at about 2 years of age, they get big enough to reproduce as we've seen. And where's this little guy here? And here's a little guy, and he's only 5 days old. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous little things, aren't they? You've got to admit, they're absolute gorgeous little things. Now these guys do like a little bit more insect matter, but they will eat vegetables as well. And the coolest thing of all is the parents, obviously mum gives live birth to the babies. Then not only does mum and dad protect the babies, but I've also noticed the year-old babies that are growing up in here with mum and dad also protect the babies. So what are they doing by protecting? They're protecting them from me. They get in front of them, they push them aside, they'll even jam themselves in a crevice to hide the babies behind the back there. Now that is absolutely amazing, and look at this, little family groups. Beautiful little family group living in here, they're very happy. So I'll put this guy back in here. And as you can see, they do scurry around a little bit. Now, they will calm down very quickly. Gorgeous little creatures, really easy to keep. And in fact, here we've got a 3-foot fish tank, basically a 3-foot tank, or it's an exoterra, obviously. It's a well, these are actually 1200s. So these are quite big. So, you know, nice size enclosure. You've got a nice thermal gradient in the hot spot here on the rocks there. We've got about 43, 44 degrees. Sounds hot and crazy, but that's what these guys need. Now you remember these guys are quite an arid species, but as you notice, there's water bowls in the enclosures, so they always give them water, give them the opportunity. We always give them a nice little salad mix that we put in there, and they can help themselves. Now we do have a couple of others up the top here. These are just little groups. So one of the things that we did notice initially is when we bred them, and I'm going to do the old one-hand capture. So this guy here is actually a couple of years old. So when we first bred them, we separated the babies, grew the babies up, and then at one point I tried to reintroduce the babies back into the colony. Now, the coolest thing is that the father noticed this young male wasn't part of the original community, because he's gone away and he's come back. He didn't recognize him and he's matured. So now it's a male that's intruding into his little community. So the two males started fighting. And in fact, the father was fighting the young son and pushed him back out of the colony. So now he's got to live up here until we can find him a girlfriend. So all these cool little things that you don't really notice, or you don't really think about, until you grow them up and watch them in captivity, and I find that absolutely fascinating, and I hope you guys do too. Make sure you continue to follow me and join the adventure on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and don't forget old TikTok as well. Now, thank you guys so much for watching me. Make sure you hit that like button, and what can I say? Thank you so much for your support.